Hello my lovely and welcome to the show. That's right, it's Thursday, I've got my apron on, I'm Annette Sym and I've got my cookbook ready to go, and guess what we're making today? Well, the theme this week was vegetarian because it's vegetarian week. So I've picked one of my all-time favorite vegetarian dishes, and it's the vegetarian or vegetable lasagna. Now I'm making it out of Cooking for One or Two because I thought it'd be a great way to show you how I've converted what is a serve 6 in book 1, and now you can also make it serves 2. So I'm going to make it as a 2, and I'm excited to cook for you today because, I mean, who doesn't love lasagna? And it's a healthy, fabulous way, and it's a little different from a normal lasagna, and I'll show you that as we go along. So thanks for joining me today. We're going to start by looking at the ingredients we need. I've also preheated my oven to 180 degrees fan force. It's ready to go, and this is what we need, okay? Now, and the great thing is, because it's only serves 2, I'm going to be doing a little bit of chopping, not a lot. So we need capsicum, broccoli, pumpkin, carrot, celery, some frozen peas and frozen corn, mushrooms, onion, garlic, bit of pepper. I've got some canned tomatoes, and that's the chopped, no added salt, and also some no added salt tomato paste, parmesan. I've just got the Kraft. We're going to use dried basil today, as well as 250 grams of the low-fat cottage cheese. And this is the lasagna. So it's the instant lasagnas we're using today, and it's the large ones. So you can see that they're quite a good size. So they are going to be great. Bit of cooking spray. Hello. Let's get started. So first of all, let's talk about last week's show where I did the apple tea cake, and I've got to tell you, we thoroughly enjoyed that with a cup of tea on Mother's Day. But the winners were very excited. So Stella Kenworthy, Kay Cooper, hi Kay, and Lorraine de Gaulle all got a personally signed copy of book 1, updated version, and they were very excited to get that. So I wonder what I'll be giving away today. So I'm going to start by chopping. Now I've got my microwave dish here because we're going to microwave the veggies for 5 minutes, so we really need to get into that. So let me get my trusty little knife and we'll start with the chopping. So first of all, I'm going to do the carrot. Now with the carrot, you don't want really big dice. So what I tend to do is go down and cut it into 4. Here we go. So just cut it into strips like this, cutting each of those into 3, and because it's only enough for 2 serves, I am only needing 1/3 cup of carrot. Now if this was the recipe out of book 1, I'd need a cup. So just 1/3, just dice, not big dice as you can see. And I love it because it's so quick and easy and just a little bit different, because sometimes it's nice to just have a little bit of a meat-free moment. That looks like that'll be the perfect amount. So in go into my container. Then we're going to do the pumpkin. Now I'm just going to chop that end off because I just find this is so easy to chop this way. And let's cut this into 3. And once again, it's diced pumpkin. And if you love pumpkin, I hope you watched Tuesday's show where I did the creamy pumpkin and pine nut sauce, which is another fantastic vegetarian dish. We need, guess what? Yes, 1/3 cup of diced pumpkin. Now, as I say, you'd normally be doing a cup. So this recipe does take a little bit of chopping when you're making the serve 6. Well, it's maybe a little bit too much. Perfect. In we go. And now we're going to slice the celery. Now, don't do the celery really thick because it just takes so long to cook otherwise. And yes, we need 1/3 cup of celery. There we go. 1/3 cup. And it's just one of those dishes that even if you're not really into vegetarian, it is still fabulous. All right, third a cup. Broccoli. Now we're just going to make them into little bits. The word is florets, if we want to be technical. So we just want little florets, just so that, you know, bite size. And, oh, there's a bit of celery in there. And it's a third a cup. And I tend to push the broccoli down a little bit, yep. See how quickly and easily this is? Now we're going to do the capsicum, and that's diced. And we want a third a cup. Oh my gosh, thanks for joining me today. If you're just tuning in and you go, what are you chopping, Annette? Well, I'm making vegetable lasagna because it's vegetarian week, but also it's using the Cooking for One or Two cookbook. So I'm only making this as a serves two. Billy and I are looking forward to this for dinner tonight, aren't we, Dale? Yeah. And it freezes really well though, so you know, it's just an all-round fabulous recipe. All right, so in here we've got pumpkin, carrot, celery, capsicum, broccoli. Let's put in the corn and the peas, and then I'm just going to put the onion in as well, which is 1/4 cup of onion. I already diced it ahead to save time. So you can see lots of veggies, and I'll just put a little bit of water in. There we go. So the hardest part, boom, done. This goes in your microwave on high for 5 minutes. All right, so let me just move. Oh no, let me just chop up my mushies, because you know they don't cook. They don't take much to cook. So I'm going to put them in later, and I'll show you. But because I didn't get really small mushrooms, just cut them in half if you've got big ones, and just slice, because otherwise they'd be too big. And we want 1/3 cup. That's right. Let's have a look. And if you see something in there and you go, oh, I don't really like mushrooms, well, maybe put some zucchini or something. Just, you can do whatever veggies, really. All right, so there's my mushrooms ready. I can add them in later. Don't let me forget. And as I said, the oven is preheated to 180 degrees because obviously we've got to put it in the oven. Let me move this over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the sauce, and this is the thing I really love about this recipe. It's really quite unique. I don't know, I just had this fabulous idea because, you know, white sauce and all that sort of stuff, normal lasagna, I get it. I know, let's do something a little different with the vegetable one. So let's make it. Okay, so you want 250 grams of low-fat cottage cheese. Now, I've got to tell you, no, do not like. I mean, it just, I won't tell you what I think it looks like, but I've just never been a fan of cottage cheese. I remember one of my daughters used to have it on crackers and that, and I go, please don't eat it near me, ew. But when it's in a recipe like this, I love it. So even if you're saying, I don't like it either, Annette, come on, if I can have it, so can you. Okay, so now we've got the 250 cottage cheese in here, and now we're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of crushed garlic. Now, because you can put your own fresh garlic in if you want. Let's do some cracked pepper. 1 teaspoon of dried basil. So it's just going to have lots and lots of flavour in this recipe. Here we go. We're going to put in now 2 tablespoons of the Kraft Palmy. I just find this one's really easy to work with a lot of cooking. So we want 1. And yes, I know people have been saying to me, Annette, where are your measure spoons? Because they're not on the website. They're coming from China. They're coming. We've had them made because we get them personally made for us. And everything takes a bit of time these days, but they are coming. Okay, so we've got, no, what am I doing? I knew that wasn't right. It's the tomato paste. So we're going to now put in the 1/3 cup of tomato paste. So this is your white sauce kind of. You know, instead of like, you know, like a milky sauce. So the cottage cheese, the parmesan, the basil, the little bit of garlic, and now the tomato paste. Just mix it all really well together, because this is one of the layers that is fabulous in the lasagnas. Now, if you love lasagna, you know I've got you covered, right? Because I have lots and lots of lasagnas that I can tell you about that are in my cookbooks. So, like for example, you've got the beef lasagna in book 1. You've got this one, of course, the vegetable lasagna in book 1 as well, and in cooking book 2. They are both, you know, it serves 8 or 6. They are in the cooking book 2 as well, serves 2. Now, book 3, you've got the chicken and spinach lasagna. Oh yes, fabulous. Book 4, there's the gourmet seafood lasagna, which is a bit fancy. And in book 5, I've got potato lasagna. So instead of pasta, you use slices of potato. I know. Where do I get my ideas from? I don't know. Book 6, chicken and vegetable lasagna, good homey one. And in book 7 is the beef and mushroom lasagna. So, yeah. I've been playing around with the idea of a dessert lasagna. Could it work? I reckon it could. Give it to me, give me time. I will ponder on that. Okay, so now these vegetables will be cooked in minutes. So what I'm going to do is show you, this is my little dish, and I got this in one of the kitchen shops, and so it's fantastic. What it is you've got your lasagna sheets, right? You've got 2. Hello, if you've just joined me, we're nearly done here. We're making vegetable lasagna from book 1 and cooking for 1 or 2, more importantly, because I'm only making a small one. You would normally use a bigger lasagna dish if you were making the version in book 1. But you just basically want to be able to stick your sheet into the dish. Now, if you're concerned about things or not sure about what to get, go into the cooking for 1 or 2, because I wanted you to be sure of what you're doing here. And if you look here, I actually show you pictures of the dishes that really work well. Now also in this, I'm going to put some tomato. I only use half a cup of canned tomato. So I also included, I know, it's got everything in a cooking water too, I love you. It's also got in here ingredients and how you can use it in other recipes. So for example, you know, if you're using evaporated light milk, I've listed all the recipes that have it in this book so you can, you know, get some ideas. All right, so we are nearly ready. So here we go. Vegetables are done. I'm just going to go and drain it over the sink. We don't want the water that it comes in. And it is beautiful because it's got all what I love as far as vegetables go. And when you look at the colours, it's just fabulous. Look here. Look at that. Fantastic. And all I have to do, let me get this out of the way. All I have to do is put in the tomato and the mushrooms. Let me just scrape it. And the mushrooms. And just combine that. So this is your veggie layer. This is your dairy layer. And of course we need the lasagna sheets. You could use gluten-free lasagna sheets if you wanted. But look at all those gorgeous veggies, colour gorgeous. The oven is, remember, 180 degrees, fan forced. All right, so I've got my veggies done, I've got my filling done. Now what I want to do is spray my little dish, and I'm going to do a third. So what I find easier is to just flatten both of these down so I can measure well. And I'll explain it as I'm going. All right, so we need now a third of this veggie mix. So this way it helps me to, when I look at it, to think, okay, I need about a third. A little bit more. Okay, so there's my third of veggie mix, right? Now, all you have to do is put a lasagna sheet on. Oh, it's a bit bendy, I might turn it that way. Lasagna sheet, and then half of the veggie mix on top. I always think it's fun to make lasagnas because it's just a little bit different, isn't it? Looking fabulous. And now what you do is you do half of the cottage cheese mix. So there it is. I just do a line down the middle, and that way I can scoop it out. Now I'm going to get my little fork here and just put little dobs of the mix. And it's got such a great flavour because it's got the tomato paste, the basil, the garlic and the parmesan. It really is a very, very tasty dish. I've actually made this when I've had people come over, and I've made the beef one and then also made this one. And the beef eaters say, oh, can I try it too? And they sold on it and they go, I'd have that any day. Isn't that interesting? All right, might just put a tiny bit more on the end here. All right, so now we've done the half the cottage cheese. We're going to put our last sheet on top, yeah? And now all the leftover vegetables go on top. I don't think it's very hard to make this, is it? Especially because it freezes really well. So if you do really love it, then you might be better to invest in making the big batch out of book one, because you'll get lots of leftovers. Or if you've got a family you're catering for, of course you will want to use it. Now we're going to just put over the top the rest of the cottage cheese. And it'll go in the oven for about 35 minutes on 180 degrees, fan forced. And then, and I'll show you how we do that, and then we cook it a little bit longer after that. I'll explain to you in a sec. So get all that fabulous sauce out. We don't want to waste any of that. And I'm just going to, as I said, with my fork, I'm just going to move the sauce, or the cottage cheese, the cheese filling around. There we go. Thanks for joining me today. Tuesdays and Thursdays are such fun days for us in the Simply Too Good kitchen. I always love, you know, making a recipe for you guys. There we go. Looking a bit fabulous. And all we have to do now is some Parmesan cheese on the top. I need 1.5 tablespoons. So I tend to put it on my hand. Remember, it's a 15 ml tablespoon, and as I said, they will be here soon. Same with the knives. Everything's taking a long time to come from overseas these days, isn't it? 1.5 tablespoons, remember? Push that down. So it doesn't actually even have like proper grated cheese in it. It's all about the Parmesan. And I just think it gives you a different perspective of lasagna all the way. All right, so now that's ready. See, it's for 2 people, yes. We're going to cover it, and I've got a little secret way of doing it. So I get the baking paper, then I get a good sheet of foil, shiny side up, and that is what's going to help cook it. So you push it in, tight. Remember, the oven's 180 degrees, fan forced. Squish it all in, and you're going to put that in the oven now. Well, I'm going to. 180 degrees, 35 minutes. Let's put the timer on, 35. Then what you'll do is you'll come back when that timer beeps and take off the foil and the baking paper and probably cook it for a good 15 minutes more, until when you put your knife through, you can really tell the pasta's cooked. Look at the mess I've made here, Billy. I'm sorry, I've just been flying around here making fabulous food for you. Now, the thing is, this recipe is out of 2 books, remember? You can use it in the Cooking for 1 or 2, or the one. So which one would you like to win this week? you get a choice. That's right. If you'd like to win book 1 or Cooking for 1 or 2, you've just got to like, share, and then in the comments, you just got to put hashtag Symply Too Good. Remember, it's the SYMPLY2. Put simply hashtag Symply Too Good in the comments, and I'm going to pick 3 fabulous people for a personally signed copy. And as I said, you get to pick. Now, I did make a lasagna up ahead because we don't care. We'll eat it till the cows come home, because I really wanted to show you the finished product. So look at that. Now that is called a meal. So when you look at that, that's half of what that dish was. I mean, who knew weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? This is a vegetable lasagna, loving it to bits, and it's a healthy, fabulous recipe. It's 5.7 grams of fat per serve out of Cooking for 1 or 2. But in the book 1, it's 5.9. Just a slight difference there. And remember, it freezes really well. And it's vegetarian week, so I've gone with the flow. Now, next week's theme is going to be all about the greatest morning tea, which is the week after, on the 27th of May. I wanted to give you some solutions and ideas if you were going to one and you're having one. And so I've got 2 fabulous recipes. Tuesday's show, get ready for that. Simple brownies out of book 7. Now, you can download that recipe, buy the ingredients. It is one of the most simplest baked recipes I have, but I love it because it's gluten-free. I'm going to tell you how to make it dairy-free as well if you need that. And that's sometimes a really handy thing when you go to events, that you can say, oh, this is also gluten-free, but it tastes amazing. Simple brownies. Who doesn't want chocolate with a cup of tea for the cancer morning tea? And on Thursday, next Thursday, I'll be making a classic one that I actually plagiarised from my mum, God rest her soul, and it's her fabulous recipe called lemon jelly slice. It is a fabulous one and perfect to go with a cup of tea if you're having this event, and why not? It's a great way to raise really good funds for such a worthy cause. Now, just remember, you can go to the website simplytoogood.com.au for any tips, recipes, and that's where you'll download the brownie recipe. And I'm excited. I've got my dinner tonight, lasagna, vegetable lasagna, book 1. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll catch you on Tuesday. Bye now.